Hi, my name is Alex Campbell. I'm a first-year graduate at The Ohio State University studying city and regional planning. Part of our curriculum is to work in internship, and my internship during my first year has been with Franklin County Economic Development and Planning. My primary project I've worked on them so far this year is the Brown Township Comprehensive Plan. A little background about Brown Township. Brown Township is located in the western portion of Franklin County, and it's pretty unique because it's one of the last rural communities left in the county. Keeping that in mind, the planning process has been a little different than traditional planning processes that deal with suburban and urban communities, whereas Brown Township has unique needs and demands that have to be met in considering its ruralness and how to keep it rural under the increasing demands of development and population growth. So our primary focus in the comprehensive plan has been with land use, establishing land use recommendations, multimodal transportation recommendations, development and design policy recommendations, and that's where I've really focused on throughout my internship so far. The comprehensive plan and the design regulations that we have set forth so far have primarily dealt with commercial development, residential development, and roadway improvements. And that's what my poster is about today. I want to dive into those and look at how traditional development in those areas goes and our preferred design elements go in those areas. Starting with commercial development, the site that we really focused on in Brown Township, we wanted to cluster development in one specific area for commercial development because keeping a rural community rural involves keeping commercial development clustered and focused and oriented in one area, where that doesn't necessarily happen in suburban and urban areas where strip development takes over. So strip development is obviously a concern in rural communities because it detracts from the character and overall aesthetic of the area. So we focused specifically on one parcel in Brown Township, and we looked at how strip development might occur on that area. And to do that, I rendered a couple images in Google SketchUp of traditional strip development, looking at the parking standards, building heights, setback requirements, all that stuff. And so you can visualize what strip development might look like. And in the graphic, you can see that it detracts from the overall aesthetic of the country and rural character. So what we really wanted to do was come up with this idea of a planned commercial rural development. And what you can really do with that is regulate the way that buildings are designed, how tall buildings can be, how buildings are massed, the building orientation in respect to the road, the landscaping requirements on site, the open space requirements on site, lighting and signage standards on site. All those things go into making a commercial development really a cohesive part of the community, and really, instead of detracting from the community like a strip development might, it really reinforces the character of a rural community. So when we're looking at the same site as we visualized before with a planned rural development, the buildings are massed together with a central open space that can be used as a flex space for the community. So the community can have, for example, an open garden during the summer months, and in the winter months it can just be a gathering space. The parking is hidden by landscaping and segmented by other landscaping, so it's not one large open parking area, and it really helps retain the rural character by hiding the parking from the street. So as you're driving by, all you see is the commercial uses and people interacting with the buildings rather than a large strip of parking. To move on to residential development, one thing that our office has really been working on is conservation development, and we'll get into that, but first I'll take a look at traditional development and how that really impacts the site. So we're going to go in the same process we went through for commercial development, and we're going to look at a specific site, and it's all open space right now. We're going to assume a site that before it is developed has unique environmental concerns like ponds, streams, waterways, things of that nature, and also farmland. And obviously farmland in rural areas is really important. It's the lifeblood of those communities. So in traditional development, a developer will come into that parcel, look at it, and just divide it up evenly, parcel by parcel, to get the most number of parcels on site and maximize their profits. However, when you have traditional development, there's no concern for farmland and the losing of that farmland. You have to make it up somehow, so other farmers either have to increase their yield, or you have to develop farmland somewhere else, and no developer wants to do that because that's losing out on profits. And it also has no concern for ecological concerns, so waterways, well, they're just going to put a parcel right next to it, and if your house is by it, so be it. Conservation development is really a unique feature and something that our office is really focusing on, especially with the Big Derby being present in Brown Township. Conservation development, it retains the same number of lots as a traditional development on the same site. However, the parcels might be half the size. And while that might not necessarily be attractive to buyers or developers, studies have actually shown that open space and environmental concerns and environmental presence on site actually increases home value. So for a parcel that is half the size in conservation development as a parcel that is the same size in traditional development, you're actually getting the same cost from it. You're getting the same benefit, and you can sell it for a higher price. So developers should look at that and take that into consideration while developing. And as I stated before, conservation development really focuses on the importance of farmland and environmental concerns on site. To look at roadways, one of the biggest signs of a rural community is a roadway. You don't really find large four-lane highways as you do in a lot of like suburban and urban areas, because rural character is all about focusing on that character and aesthetic. So you're going to find winding roads where it's going to slow you down a little bit because safety is a major concern, and when there's no lights, no street lights, because of the rural character, you can't fly through the roads as you would in normal communities. So when looking at an existing rural road, there's about 18 feet of asphalt, 2 travel lanes, and in normal conventional improvements, what they do is they just flatten the road, make it straight, and then increase the lane width. And in conventional improvements, the total feet of asphalt in the right-of-way increases to about 36 feet. So it's double the asphalt present than what previously was. So our recommended improvement for roadways in Brown Township to retain the rural aesthetic is to keep the winding roads that go through the hills, because that is unique to rural areas, and that's something that we want to reinforce. But what we also wanted to do in focusing on our multimodal transportation recommendations is provide accessibilities for bikers and even equestrian modes of travel. So what we established was paved shoulders on both travel lanes, and in some areas, on some roads, a separate trail or path, so then both horses and bicyclists can feel safe traveling on the same roads as vehicles, where that might not be viable now. Overall, the Brown Township plan has been something that I feel privileged to work on. It has taught me a lot about not only the planning process, but the importance of planning not only for urban areas, but rural areas as well. And I really enjoy everything that I've done, and it really helped me orient myself on how commercial, residential, and roadway development and improvements can differ in different areas. Thank you.